Ratitsénhaienhs Sky-Deer. It's been a while since I've given an update to the community. Obviously, there's been a lot that has been going on since we returned from the holiday break, but also before that. So today's update is going to be maybe a little bit lengthy, so I hope you'll tune in for the duration because I definitely have a lot of information to relay to you, the community. I think I'll start with our portfolio review. We just commenced that when we returned from the holiday break. I think it was January 10th through the 12th. So 3 days, to go through the numerous updates. We have 16 portfolios and now a new portfolio that was recently added. And I think that became as a result of Stephen McCumber being a newly elected Ratitsénhaienhs to the table and wanting to see sustainable development. So we were able to incorporate that. And then also with the addition of Yohahio and he was assigned the health portfolio. So the exercise was really to go through every single one to get an update on where things were at thus far. I mean, we're at the midway point of the 2021 to 2024 term of office. So, looking at, I guess, the priorities that were set in the portfolios and looking at the progress and what has been done to date. We also talked about the need for us to maybe develop a PR strategy and how we report on the portfolios. I mean, it's one thing we're doing our Chiefs on Cut weekly. Those come out on Mondays. We have our MCK Friday every 2 weeks. You'll also see a number of issues covered in the two local newspapers, Yuriwase and the Eastern Door. But we don't really get to go into detail and show deliverables and objectives that have been met in the portfolios. So I think that will be something we'll be looking at into the future as well, because we do have a new portfolio now, creating a new mandate and a terms of reference for that, and who is going to, I guess, be on the portfolio team. So more to come with regard to the portfolios, and I think overall the process went very well. I have to commend the Council of Chiefs and the Ratitsénhaienhs for how they functioned and operated in getting through this. Like I said, it was rather extensive to be done over 3 days, but nonetheless, I think at the end of it, everybody was satisfied and that they feel confident about the work that we're doing and what we're doing into the future, as we have a year and a half left in this term. So with regard to the portfolios that I hold, I did get on economic development. It's the first time that I'll be involved in this portfolio, and as a matter of fact, I went to my first Deweduni Zakda board meeting as a liaison, and looking at how I guess our relationship is going to function. In the past, there had been different representation. So myself and Yohahio attended the board meeting, and I think there's a lot that we could do in the area of economic development in the community. So I'm really excited to see the potential of my involvement there and how things can evolve in the future with regard to economic development. Another one is governance. That is one that I'm the lead portfolio chief. And of course, originally we were focused on a lot of the internal functions of MCK governance. There's a few other outstanding documents that we need to finalize, and we did take a lot of direction from the community in the first go-around of the first phase of the governance project that Jessica and Dayayage did, which dealt with how the MCK, the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake, functions. And there was definitely some calls for change. The election law is going to be going through an amendment process. You'll probably see a notification going out to the community that is being triggered. We don't want it to be too close to the upcoming next election, obviously, because we know that there's going to be, I think, some substantive changes that the community wants to see in terms of who is representing them, different criteria, so that will be forthcoming. We also got a report from the Yayage Gerald Alfred about the community governance project and the fact that there's still, different events going on in the community, Sunday cornbreads, really engaging with the community, getting feedback about, different things and what they knew about the history of governance in Kahnawake. So if you aren't aware of the Kahnawake Governance Project, I believe Linda Delormier has also been appointed to be the community engagement coordinator, and there's a lot of good work going on. So if you can, check out the website that they have. A lot of the documents are there for your review. So if you're not familiar with it, I mean, they've been on the radio a few times. Definitely a lot of positive things going on, and we're looking forward to getting the final report on that. Another thing, external government relations is also one where I'm the lead portfolio. There's been a number of meetings now with Deborah Korber, who was appointed as the Minister's Special Representative from the federal government, again to help unlock some of the issues that we were dealing with when it came to seniority and other issues related to Kahnawake-Canada Relations Table. So Chief Ross Montour is the lead on KCR, but you know, myself, I'm looking at the global external government relations, so dealing with also the provincial government. You might have seen that I did have a meeting with the Premier that took place in August of last year. You know, really looking forward to seeing if we could get this relationship on track. For the longest time, they weren't really engaging with our community on a political level on a number of issues. We saw what happened with Bill 96. As a matter of fact, I was recently contacted to get an update what some of the schools are looking at to try to ensure that Kahnawake Hirono are still given opportunity to maybe learn a different language other than French. So it's awesome to see that people external to the community are still staying mobilized and trying to find ways to combat Bill 96. So the capital campaign for the Cultural Center or Museum Theater project, I am the chairperson. You might have seen that there have been some recent fundraising activities. We did have a dinner at the 207 in December, and we invited a lot of prospects and potential donors. We're at the halfway point. We set our objective to raise 16 million. We're at about 8.5. Things are progressing along very well. The architect has been contracted. The drawings are being finalized, the final budget and what it's going to cost. The grounds were already, you know, I won't say clear cut. We all know that we're keeping a lot of the trees, and we're trying to keep the integrity of the location of where this project and this building will be, and repurposing and reusing a lot of the wood that was cut. Just an amazing project for our community. You know, something of this magnitude that will be the hub of where, you know, a gathering space to hear Ungwawana and Zinugwarihoda, and having more programs and services, and again for Turtle Island Theater to be reinvigorated again, and for our young youth to be able to express themselves through the arts and through theater, I think is just long overdue. So I'm really excited about this. You know, I'm meeting so many people from different companies and organizations external to the community who really want to help us. They really want to change their relationship with First Nations, and that they're, you know, just, we're at a crossroads. Everybody's talking about reconciliation, but to see it in action and really coming through with this project, and I imagine into the future in different areas, that's what we're going to see. A couple of other things that we have upcoming. There is a special community meeting that will be taking place on the 21st of this month, February. It's a Tuesday. And we also have some upcoming kiosks. We've been having these kiosks leading up to community meetings now, probably since the start of the term when we could gather. And they've been working very well. It really gives community members an opportunity to come and interface with the Ratitsénhaienhs as a whole, as many of us participate, or on a one-on-one. Because we know a lot of times people don't want to bring their issues to a community meeting and address it in front of a group or a large group. So having this opportunity to have one-on-one. So we'll be at the Golden Age Club Friday, February 10th, as well as Friday, February 17th from 1 to 5. We chose afternoons and hopefully a little bit into supper to give people who work a time to come, but obviously you could always contact us if you require a meeting outside of that for any issue that you would like to bring forward. So again, community meeting Tuesday, February 21st, 7 p.m. at the Golden Age Club, and the 2 kiosks on February 10th and February 17th from 1 to 5. We also had a special community meeting. This took place on December 15th, and it was on gaming. We invited the two proponents, Magic Palace and Playground, to give an overview on how the operations have been functioning in the community thus far. So a lot of numbers in terms of foot traffic, how many people from the community, external to the community, future growth. We see the expansion that is going on right now at Playground. So they definitely gave, some very positive feedback in terms of the pilot and how things have progressed. We know that timeline is coming to an end now, and we're going to declare shortly the end of the pilot project. Still a lot of other social policy issues, I think, that need to be addressed, and asking the community, because there's going to be requests, we know. Other than that, when there's 1 or 2 permits, other people are going to want to do the same. But I definitely feel that we're going to need to do a needs assessment in terms of the community, as well as impact assessment. It's all fine that we commissioned a report from the KGC, as well as the services, essential services in the community, be it the ambulance, the peacekeepers, and the fire brigade, to see what kind of impacts it's had on them. And overall, in the report that they provided, there was some issues, but nothing that cannot be managed at this point. However, they did flag in the future, if there's going to be significant growth or other locations considered, we really need to look at the current infrastructure and the amount of officers / paramedics, firefighters that we have on staff to be able to accommodate that. So I think that's important for it to be on people's radar, and that we don't think about these things when the community wants to grow. We want to create business and development and projects, but we also have to look at our infrastructure and ensure that we could accommodate it. The last thing I guess I'll cover is I was invited to Lake Placid to go to the FISU, which is like the university games in Lake Placid, and my purpose there was to be a part of a climate change conference called Save Winter. We've seen recently that there's been a lot of snow, but at the beginning of winter it was very sparse, and it's impacting different places all around the world because of climate change and global warming, and the fact that winters aren't what they used to be, and the fact that we could see a real change in the future, the way we see seasons. And we know for us winter is important. We all just went through midwinter ceremonies. The fact that soon the sap water is going to start running, and our first antioxidant and medicine, and if winter we can't depend on it for these functioning, it's going to have some real impact. So the fact that we now have this new portfolio, as I mentioned at the beginning, that Stephen will be leading, trying to get the sustainable development portfolio, addressing issues of climate change, and what are we doing in the community to try to be a part of the solutions moving forward. So I definitely think, when we come from that environmental stewardship perspective as Ohén people, I think we could be doing more. And I think having some kind of a conference or a conversation about this is going to be important. We've seen representation at the different COP15, the one also in Montreal and the one in Egypt recently from Kahnawà youth and other representatives. So I think we should probably have something here in the community to start having the dialogue and the conversation. And I was invited to that because Hydro-Quebec was one of the major sponsors, and we do have a relationship with Hydro, and trying to, I guess, be that conduit between other brother and sister communities who in the past, didn't have the greatest relationship with Hydro, us as well. And they're also one of those companies and corporations that is trying to change that narrative, and how we came up with this new Champlain Hudson Power Express line for us to be a co-owner in the line and the opportunity for, a long-term return to the community so that we could invest in the things that are important to us. Very sad to see Sophie Brochu announce her stepping down from her CEO role, because her and I were definitely able to create this friendship and relationship based on, our mutual understanding of how we have to change the way we deal with people. And like I said, I know in the past they haven't always been, the best crown corporation toward First Nation in Ohén communities, but she was really adamant about wanting to change that reputation into the future. So I'm really hopeful that whoever is going to replace her will still have those same values and approach to the work. And we'll see where things go in that regard. I think that's it. I think I took up a lot of your time today, and I really thank you for listening, and hope to see you at some of these engagements that we'll have in the next little while. So with that, Kahnawake, and have a good rest of your day. Kahnawake.